All right, y'all, thank you so much for tuning in today. We're talking about one of my favorite topics. You ready? Self-control and why your self-control sucks. And it's the reason you can't lose weight, right? If you just had a little more self-control, if you just would stop eating the granola or the peanut butter or the cookies or the chips or the candy or stop going through Starbucks. If you just had more self-control, if you just wanted a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. It's not it. I know it's easy to blame your lack of ability to adhere to your diet plan on your self-control. And then you think there's other people who have so much self-control. We're over here not eating the candy and the cookies and all of those things and feeling totally fine, not triggered by it. We can go to a cookout, a potluck, a get together, and there be like an appetizer spread and us not lose our shit around it while you're over there like elbows deep in a cheese log because you have no self-control. I know why it feels like that. And I felt like that for a very long time. It's like, why do you have more self-control than I do? How do I get as much as you have? I would like to lose weight. Please help me. So in reality, self-control is not something that some of us have a lot of and some of us have a little of. Self-control is something that we all have just a little bit of, just a little bit. So those of us, I would fall into the category where it looks like I have excellent self-control. I've lost a lot of weight. I've kept it off and I feel very satisfied with my nutrition choices, all of these things. I must have so much self-control. Okay, but I have a good bit of self-discipline. I am no foreigner to working hard and I really value goals and challenging myself. But I also know I only have so much self-control. The amount of times I have gone in for just a handful of granola only to find myself like scraping the bottom of the bag, peanut butter spoons, game over. I've been there. I know what it feels like. So those of us who seem to outsiders, like we have the most self-control ever. What are we doing different? We're aware that we only have so much self-control throughout the day. So we structure our environments accordingly. So I'm not having to sit there and exercise self-control at every single moment of my day. For example, if you have a sweet tooth and you're really trying to rein it in, trying to embrace a little bit more like health forward kind of foods for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, cool it with the snacking on the cookies and the office stuff, maybe the candy jar. If you're trying to cool it with those things, it would be impossible for you to stick with that game plan, even if you have no self-control ever. If you wake up and you have to walk by some pastries that you had gotten this past weekend on your way to the fridge to make your eggs. You have to walk by the pastries. You have to exhibit self-control there. And then as you're making your eggs, like you open the fridge and you're maybe going to get some like milk or like get some cheese, get some vegetables, and like staring you like right in the face is, let's say, maybe some, leftovers from the other, like a leftover cake from the other night, maybe like something like really sweet. You kind of just want to like take a little spoonful of, but you make it through breakfast. Whew. But then you have to drive by like 7 Starbucks on the way to get to work. And that's like your favorite place to get a latte. Self-control. I'm not going to stop. Nope. I'm not going to stop. You get to the office, you're working, you go into the break room, and all of a sudden someone brought in donuts. And now there's donuts there. And you're like, nope, don't do it. Don't do it. You're exhibiting self-control again and again and again and again. So let's even take it to, you go over to a friend's house. You guys are going to watch the game together, or maybe there's a show you guys always watch, or just like hanging out with friends, playing some cards, catching up, and there's a spread. You got the chips, you got the dip, you got the cheese logs, which are so good, and the crackers, and just all these, they're so good. And you're standing right there. You're like, don't do it. You're like, you're putting your hands in your pocket, like, oh, don't do it. So the whole day, you've been like, don't do it. You've been exhibiting so much self-control all day. You don't have any more or any less than most people. You've just burnt through it really quickly. You are only a matter of moments away from breaking and just going ham on like the salted nuts, and it's just going to be downhill from there. So those of us who seem to have more self-control than everyone, we are more strategic about making sure we set up our environment. So I feel like throughout the day, I need to exhibit very little self-control because I'm just kind of doing what's near me. I already have my macros tracked for the day. So I don't have to exhibit self-control while figuring out what I'm going to have for breakfast. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have like an egg scramble with some bacon, some fruit, a piece of toast. Like, cool. Like, just follow the script. And if there are certain things that I just lose my shit around food wise, I'm not going to have all of them in my pantry, maybe one or two. So I can exercise mindfulness and still enjoy some of my favorite things. I love chocolate and salt. Both are wonderful. Salted chocolate, so good. So I don't have all of my favorite things in my pantry where I'm exhibiting self-control there. Or I'm not going to go through Starbucks and walk in and be like, I'm only going to get a black coffee. I'm only going to get a black coffee when I know that like lemon pound cake they have. I want it. I'm not putting myself in the position where I feel like I am constantly exhibiting self-control. You will never find an open like candy dish or like little snacky thing out on the counter at my house ever. If I'm hosting, that is a different story. Gonna have the pretzels, all the I love hosting. But on a day-to-day basis, I do not need to be walking by an open candy dish that has like peanut M&Ms. Game over. I can eat all of them. That's just not going to happen in my house because I don't have enough self-control to sit next to a jar of an open container of peanut M&Ms and not go for it. So I've structured my environment so I'm not exhibiting self-control all day. That's a huge piece. So if you feel like you are struggling always choosing foods that you've always chosen and they leave you feeling a little bit sluggish, is get them out of the house for a while. Maybe if you have a family, your food is going to be in a little bit different area of the pantry because mommy's getting healthy. That's okay to do. Set your environment up to minimize how often you feel like you need to exhibit self-control. And a big thing I do with a lot of my clients, I mean, it's the appetizer charcuterie spread that takes the best of us down, is put physical distance between you and that spread. Do not like circle the table where all the food is, like, gazelles coming into the water hole, and stand there. You're just going to eat and munch the whole time you're standing there. How do I know? Because that's exactly what I do as well, because it's all so delicious. And you can literally eat like 3 meals worth of calories just standing there, not even realizing it. So a lot of times I have my clients who really struggle in those moments is I'm like, make a plate of what genuinely sounds good, utilizing appropriate portion control, and then go somewhere else. Sit down over there. Even if you're in a conversation where you guys are just kind of snacking, like, oh my, yeah, I'm loving this chat. Why don't we go over here and like actually have a seat and like get comfortable? I want to ask you a couple more questions. It's okay to be like, you know what? I'm going to eat this entire bowl of chips sitting in front of me. If we keep standing here, can we just like move over that way a little bit? Like, good grief. Like, you are allowed to put physical distance between yourself. Think about, like, they've done studies on this too. If I'm sitting here with a jar of M&Ms next to me versus a jar of M&Ms on like a table, like behind the computer that you can't see, I am so much more likely to eat the ones here than the ones over there because it's convenient. It's right here. There's such a little barrier to me going in. So I'm going to have to exhibit a lot of self-control not to just go for it. So self-control is not something that you either have or don't have, or like have a lot or not have a lot of. It's those of us that seem to exhibit a lot of self-control is we're very strategic about putting ourselves in positions where we have to exercise self-control as infrequently as possible. And we set our environments up in a way that we can feel like we're making successes in like successful choices throughout the day instead of the whole day being like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like at work, you don't need a candy jar on your desk. Probably a poor choice if you're trying to exhibit self-control and you're struggling with your sweet tooth. You don't need that candy jar on your desk. Maybe if you are like the way you walk to the bathroom, your coworker always has the best candy on their desk, go a different way. So you don't have to exhibit self-control every time you walk by it. Those types of things can go a really, really, really long way. And it kind of ties in with a concept in a book called The Lazy Genius is sometimes just deciding that you do something one time and sticking with it can go a long way. So for example, when I was working clinically, full-time inpatient care as a physical therapist, I always brought my lunch. Always. I wasn't going to go eat out. I wasn't going to go pick up carry out. I wasn't going to DoorDash anything to the clinic. That really wasn't a thing when I was there, but like I wasn't going to go get something. I would rather have a longer lunch break, like use those 30 minutes to eat and then maybe go for a little walk when it was nice out, versus standing in line, shoveling something really quick, and then feeling lethargic for the rest of the day. So I decided I pack my lunch and I eat my lunch there. period, the end. So it wasn't like every time I got to work, I was like, am I going to eat out today? Am I going to go this? Am I going to do? I never had to exercise self-control around that choice because I made the choice and you just stick with it. Same thing with like, I mean, in patient care, people always would bring you like sweets and donuts and cookies and all of these things. I'm sorry, but the plastic container cookies from the grocery store are never worth it. So I never ate the snacks that people brought in. There was one exception in San Diego. It was a local donut shop. I do not know what they did different, but it was different and it was good and it was always worth it. So unless that specific donut shop box of donuts was in the back break room, I didn't touch it because I made the choice once that I was always going to have something better at home. I always have a dessert planned at night, like a chocolatey yogurt bowl with like dark chocolate granola and like peanut butter. So for me, it was easy to say no thanks because I have something better later because I structured my eating that way. And it was easy for me to exhibit self-control when in reality, I had already made the choice. I wasn't like hoeing and humming over that same choice every single day. VG's Donuts, worth it. Anything else, not. The end. So if you're struggling with self-control, don't think there's anything wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not lacking in self-control. You are likely just in an environment where you have to exhibit self-control all the time and you're just spending through it too quickly. So take a scan of your environment and see where you can take some of your triggers out of it so you don't feel like you're having to exercise self-control from sunup to sundown every day, feeling like you're only moments away from breaking. Whew. Light is doing some crazy things here. We're having some storms here in Nashville today. So they definitely called the rain right. Maybe tornadoes. We don't know. Always a surprise here with weather in Nashville. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Any questions, please drop them below the video on the platform that you are watching. You can always find me on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook as Hannah Brandt or Dr. Hannah Brandt. And then please say hello on Instagram and TikTok, Having and Eating Cake, all one word. Be sure to say hi, introduce yourself. So happy you're here. And stay tuned for more videos. Always more on deck for you guys.